Now we're going to talk about how we can do a little formatting using this new HTML editor for Google Drive. The dilemma is it doesn't do formatting efficiently, though if you don't know a lot about web design, it would do the trick. So let's try our first example by highlighting this as a paragraph. Now, you'll notice there's a styles drop down. Now, there's not a lot in here. There's just a few different styles you can choose, but we're going to see how it actually affects the code inside the source. Now, first of all, with this is a paragraph, I'm going to go to source and notice that is simply a paragraph element. All right. Highlight the text. Let's go to styles and choose italic title. Now notice how big it got. So if you go into the source code, you are now going to see that, it made it into an H2 element and added a style inside that says font style italic. So you can see how that works. Now, introduce you now to our undo. Here's the undo, which is Control Z. Yeah, so let's click it. Now let's go ahead and choose a different one. Let's go to font. And let's choose, first of all, notice there's not a lot of fonts in here. This editor keeps with the most common fonts on the internet. So let's choose Comic Sans. Yes, go to source. Now here's the weird thing. It didn't put the style in the paragraph. It wrapped our text inside a span element, and we've used span elements. It kind of is like a special division, but only for words or letters. And inside of there, there's our common font family that we've been using. All right, now let's go ahead and do this. Not only do I add a font, let's change the size. So here's the irritating thing it does. Let's choose 24 point. Now when I go into the source, it didn't add another style with that original span. It literally added another span element around this is a paragraph, inside another span element. So there's multiple spans, very inefficient. So let's get back out of here. Let's add one more. Let's go ahead and add a font color, red. Let's do a background color, yellow. So you can see what it looks like. Now look how complex the code looks. It keeps adding span elements inside of here to format that. Now it works, but that's a heck of a lot of extra code as opposed to us going to our style sheet and just entering in those styles in one spot. So let's go ahead and introduce you now to the remove format. That brings your text back, clearing any format. Now it's back to a paragraph. So very powerful tool. Now, while we're on the same subject, if I highlight this and make it bold, this is not adding a font weight style. It's actually going to change it to an HTML element that is used for formatting. Let's speak. That would be the strong tag. So this is a paragraph is wrapped in a strong element. That's what appears to be bold. All right, now let's kind of do the same thing. Let's highlight this and let's add italic. And you'll notice the italic is an M element for emphasis. Inside of that is the strong element, and there's our text. So this is nesting elements inside. Let's go back and add one more. Let's go ahead and do underline. You see what it looks like. Very complex. It'd be easier for us to format the style in this for the paragraph, or at least adding a class and add it to the style sheet. But let's go ahead and just clean this up. Here's how it would look. So now you can see that indeed, look at all the extra elements that are actually added to this. So like I said, most of the stuff that we do, all we want to do is put in basic elements. Let's leave the formatting to the style sheet. All right, now let's go ahead and clear this again. And you'll notice there's a strike through. All right, clear that. There's a subscript, so that would be something like H2O. So let's go ahead and change the 2 to a subscript, and again, in the code, that is a sub element. Okay? And again, we stayed away from those, but to show you that this program will do it. And then likewise, the superscript raises the number. So just some basic ones. Okay, now last thing here in this little video. I'm going to highlight this. I don't have to highlight it, but I'm going to highlight it. And you're going to notice there's an increase indent. Well, let's click it. And you'll see it indents a little bit. Well, if you go to the source, what it actually did is it added a style element of margin left inside it. Notice the amount, 40 pixels. If I indent again, click on the line, it keeps adding 40 more pixels. There's a decrease indent, so let's click. And likewise, that either goes back 40 pixel increments one more time, or removes the style altogether. Now, the other thing that goes with it is right here. Now, this is called a block quote. So when I click it, it looks like, oh, it just indented it. The difference is it put it into a block quote element. And the block quote basically indents approximately 40 pixels. Now, you can't add more indenting here. If I click it again, so let's go to here, it just takes it off. So it's a toggle switch. You see how that works. And then last but not least, our alignment options. Center. Well, in the source, text align center. Right. In the source, text align right, so you can see what this is doing. So it will add things, but most of the styles, all this is going to be used for is to generate the code. Do not worry about styling. Leave that to your repo.